Let's raid.
What's going on, YouTube? Alright, so we are going to do a disassembly and reassembly of the central Pneumatic Deluxe Airbrush kit. This is from Harbor Freight. So what you want to do is unscrew the back end, which is the needle protector. As soon as you get that, you see this bolt here. This is going to release your needle. So all you got to do is turn that. And mind you, everything basically unscrews hand tight. No tools necessary. So there you go. Pulls the needle right out. Be very careful with your needle not to bend it. Once you bend it, you are screwed. Next step is going to be this area here. A lot of people don't like to pull this apart because this disassembles your trigger. So here you go. Unscrew it just like so. And once you pull this out, it'll be in a two-piece area. And once you pull that out, as I'm stating there, the trigger will fall apart. Notice the face. I try to keep all the trigger and stuff together, but it just started falling apart. It's normal. It happens. So there's the trigger. And there's the trigger pressure. That's the most pain in the ass, excuse my language, part right there. It tends to get stuck, as you can see here. I'm trying to get it out. But just be patient with it. If it gets stuck, just toss it around, flip it around, and it'll come out eventually. Don't stick any tools in there or try to bend it out because you'll end up damaging it. So you can see I just look at it, just bounce it around. Sure enough, it'll pop out. There it goes. And that is the little piece. I seriously hate that piece so much. It's such a pain in the ass. So what I use is nail clippers to hold that piece. If you have smaller fingers, you can actually do it just by hand. So here you go. You can see I'm going to reassemble this. Well, actually, excuse me. Forgetting about the barrels. This is the barrels. The barrels are in two-piece. This is the very front tip, like so. And the tip after that is what consists of the needle being in place where the air pressure blows out. Do not lose neither one of these. On this piece here that I'm screwing, there is a little washer on there. Be careful for that. Don't lose that little washer. So there you go. Full disassembly. That's all you're left with. Now, let's reassemble it. Basically the same steps. The trigger is the most hardest part. It's just a matter of getting the parts correctly aligned. So you'll see I hold the nail clippers to hold the trigger pressure. I call it the trigger pressure area. There's a specific name for it. If you look inside, you'll notice it's curved. You want to get that right along the edge there and then curve it in, just like I'm doing. There's only one way to do it. You can see right here, I actually screwed up in this video a little bit, and I show you guys how I screwed up. So you can see how that is popped up a little too high, and once you reassemble it, you'll notice it will not work. That part will need to be pushed down a little bit more, but you'll see right here. Mind you, I am new to this and I've already mastered it. I've only had this gun for about 4 or 5 days. So there you go. You can see that pressure area is still too high. It needs to be lower than that, and we'll go over that right now when I screw up. So I'm basically reassembling it. On this part, there's a little notch. That notch needs to be facing down, just like that, and you screw it all back together. Excuse me. Now I'm noticing that pressure, the trigger pressure mechanism thingy is not going against the trigger. That means I did something incorrectly. If you did it correctly, that trigger pressure will go right up against the needle. It'll pressure up against it, just as how the gun was before. So see, that's how it should be pushed up, just like that. And when you screw this part in, you'll notice it. The pressure will just basically push that right up against your trigger. So you can see I'm still tampering with it. It's still not fully pressured. So see, I'm going to disassemble it again until I get that correctly. So you can see it's not pressured up against it. And I have that needle holder part screwed all the way in. So I'm going to disassemble it again. Of course, you can't get it right all in one video when you're trying to make a YouTube tutorial. It just never works that way. So this kind of helps, though. It shows the flaw. So that way, when you guys are putting this together, if you end up with this situation as I'm in right now, you'll know to fix it. The trigger is probably the hardest part, just for the fact that you have to literally get everything so in line in order for it to work properly. But it's just a matter of placing the trigger and the trigger pressure in the right spot, and then you're good to go. It's really no type of science. It's just a matter of getting everything in the right area, just like a puzzle. I honestly break down apart rifles and stuff like that, and I find this to be a lot easier, even though I have pretty much mastered taking apart rifles, building rifles, and whatnot. But this part right here is the most part that just will bug the hell out of you until you get it. Don't get frustrated. If you start getting frustrated, just set it down and then come back to it. So see, there's the little lip that needs to be facing down. And you'll see what I mean. Just look real, like when you take your gun apart, just look in it and you'll notice it. So here we go. I'm screwing it back in. You can see I'm kind of holding it like upwards, and this actually helped. So if you can't do it holding it straight, try to hold it upwards like I am. And voila, see? Now the needle pressure is right up against the trigger pressure is right up against the trigger. So that's good. Now, if you take your hands off this without putting your needle in, it will fall back apart. The needle basically goes through both of these mechanisms and holds it into place. So you can see I'm screwing the needle in very gently. Make sure the way I'm holding it, you want to be conscious. I have poked myself a few times. As you can see, the needle off to the right comes all the way out. So there you go. See, I can let go of the trigger now and everything holds into place. Now, don't tighten down your needle in the rear until you put on the barrels, the front barrels. And you'll see why I also made a small bit of an error here as I was doing this. So I tightened down my barrels, and my needle is tightened a little too much to where I can't adjust it, so I have to go back and loosen up my needle so I can push it forward. So see, there it's pushed all the way forward. And now I'm going to tighten it up. I was going to do a voiceover. I wasn't going to do a voiceover tutorial. I was just going to do a voice tutorial while I was doing this. But I had my 4-year-old in the background with TV on and stuff, so I figured I would just do a voiceover tutorial. So I'm hoping this is kind of helping you out. Here's the rest of the front end barrel. This is the part where it keeps everything compressed for your air, and then your air shoots out of that tip. You don't want to lose any of these parts, trust me, especially with the Central from Pneumatic from Harbor Freight, because they don't sell extra parts. So if you break something or lose something, you basically threw your $25 away. I screw in the back, just like so, and voila, good to go. I hope this tutorial helped you guys. Please make sure you rate, comment, subscribe, and hit that thumbs up. Much love and respect. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them, and I will help you out as much as possible. Yeah, buddy.